Haven't we all experienced feelings of emptiness in our lives at some point, despite our achievements? It is so important for people, Christian or otherwise, to prioritize their mental health. I can recall a time when I received counseling over a 6-month period, 90 minutes once a week, no cap. There are several notable examples of highly successful people who have spoken publicly about their struggles with the blues, including best-selling Christian author Katara Washington Patton. In this episode, Katara will expound upon the misnomer that as long as you got King Jesus, you don't need nobody else. Well, that sounds good in a song, but in real life, not so much. I'm Claudia Parker. 5 Minutes of Faith starts now.
Hi, I'm Katara Washington Patton. I like to describe myself as an author, a woman of faith, a friend, a wife, and a mother. I'm here with 5 Minutes of Faith with Claudia Parker. My mother and father were very active in the church, senior deacon, Sunday school superintendent. So I had no other choice but to go to church as well as Sunday school. And I really developed an understanding of knowing who God is early on in life. Probably 9, I got baptized and really started to understand what it meant to be a Christian. Truth be told, as I look back over my life, as an adolescent, I had bouts of sadness. And it's hard to say what's natural, a natural part of growing up, right? And what's maybe a chemical something off. And so I'm not diagnosing myself as a 15-year-old, but I do remember having bouts of sadness. Probably in my 20s, I was too busy doing other stuff to really realize it. But by the time I got to be 30, a couple of significant life events, I believe, happened in addition to that chemical piece just probably not being right. A couple of things I had hoped would happen did not happen, which I think can be pretty normal for a 30-year-old. Life happens, right? And a lot of times we've planned and we have expectations and thoughts about things and they just don't go that way. And that can cause depression when it's not thought through, when it's not prayed about, when it's not, taken care of correctly. And I think in those conditions, I was just kind of like, whoa, I did this, and that, and I got this. What happened? One of the huge pieces of that was my mother's death. And only after speaking and thinking through some things do I realize sometimes it hits believers harder because we are not prepared in a lot of ways for death. I thought, and I know, my mother was a Christian. My mother lived for eternal life, so why would death even be sad? Except I didn't expect death to happen so soon to her. I didn't expect, oh my gosh, Mom, I'm having a baby and you're not here. Oh my gosh, Mom, I'm about to get married. You're not. I didn't expect grief to hit me in those different areas because to me, death was, oh, death, where is your sting? We're living eternally with God. So I think my views of death were in some ways lopsided and overly focused on the eternal life promise. Hey, that's great. I know we do have that promise, but we also have to live in the now. I had a friend who I was talking to on the phone, and I was just sharing how sad I was. I said, if I come home tonight, I told myself, I made a deal with myself. I said, if I come home tonight and go to the couch and just do nothing, I got to call a therapist tomorrow. I was pretty stuck. I could not do anything else. I made it to work. And I came home and I stayed on the couch. So I was on the phone with that friend and she prayed for me right there that I'd find a counselor she called it a Christian counselor. I later formed it to say a counselor who would not try to talk away my faith. She, the therapist, was really, to me in a lot of ways, the person God used to unlock a lot of things, just talking through some things, small exercises, small steps, reminding myself to give myself grace and patience. My grace comes from God, that unforced rhythm. I'm not forcing it. I'm not beating myself up. I'm walking and talking just a little more with my Lord today. Faith and depression can exist, and often does, in the same space. And that's not discounting your faith. It's not discounting that God can heal you and help you. It's a reality, because depression comes from chemicals. Depression comes from medicines we're taking. Depression comes from hormones, a bad day, anxiety. It comes from so many different things. I mean, that when we realize that, then we can start to get the natural treatments to go along with the spiritual treatments and be truly whole.